Crystal Mangum accused the Duke lacrosse team of raping her, okay? The wonderful documentary, I don't know if you saw the documentary, but it'll make you so angry to see what happened to these kids. Their lives were absolutely ruined. So, 2 of them close to suicide, it was so bad. Their future was ruined. They were humiliated. They were lied about. They had to drop out of school. And this lying POS says now...
Who's in prison for murder.
Who's in prison for murder, that's right, murdering her boyfriend, stabbed him to death. Her boyfriend, yeah. And now she says, I almost can't read this. It's like, oh, I made up a story that I'm so sorry. I didn't know what I was doing. Really? You changed these people's lives in such a negative way that I'm sorry ain't good enough. I don't care if you've come to Jesus or what. I'm sorry is not good enough. And unfortunately, in the process, think of the harm she's done to other claimants. Just like, like Jesse, I thought, to me, as soon as I read this story, you found this story, I thought it was a good story. I thought of Jesse Smollett, okay? This big scam, this big fraud. Somebody tried to kill me. They killed me. They wanted to kill me because I was gay. They wanted to kill me because I was African American. What does that do to people? It doesn't just invalidate claims.
Because he said it was Trump supporters
that
did it.
They were Trump supporters. So it invalidates the people that really do go through this.
Yeah.
And these people that do this kind of things, oh, I'm just so sorry. I'm just so sorry. Of course, with Smollett, they bought into, because he was a celebrity, you know, you had corporate media eating it up because you had rich white kids at Duke University versus, you know, I mean, with her.
Yeah, and look, the corporate media every night had these kids' faces, each in their own little blocks up on the screen. I remember that clear as day. And yeah, because at the time this seemed very credible. It seemed real. But then, obviously, the university did their own investigation after the fact, after all of this information had come out, and they said, no, these kids are innocent. But at the time, Duke lacrosse, they had to forfeit their entire season. The lacrosse program suffered just a reputational blow that'll never recover. And of course, just the personal damage these individuals themselves have gone through and will continue to go through, because this story of her coming out and saying, hey, by the way, I lied.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
This is not getting the coverage that those people got.
No, exactly.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, they won't talk about this story. Just like they're really not... I come back to Jesse Smollett. That story really bothered me, because this is a guy that was willing. He wanted to start a little mini race war, you know, right there in his backyard. You know, because they did it to me because I was gay. They did it to me because I was African American. They were Trump supporters. They were MAGA. And all of a sudden, just like the Duke story, corporate media jumps all behind it. Now, they did it with him because he had a TV show. They did it with her because she was African American versus rich white kids that had special treatment, you know. And until we can stop this, until we can get media to be media again, report news. Give us the positives, give us the negatives. This is going to happen again and again, don't you think?
Yeah, and look, to me, one of the biggest issues with this as well that you kind of touched on there is the fact that most women who are victims of sexual assault are terrified to come forward. And they're terrified to come forward because nobody's going to believe them. They're going to blame the victim. Yeah. This is your fault. They're going to shame them through eternity. Mm-hmm. And stories like this make it less likely that real victims will come forward in the future.
Question.
So this woman has ruined not just these young men's lives, she's ruined the lives of women that actually have gone through things like this, who now will not come forward because this story makes it seem like women are lying about these things. This needs to be bigger news than it is, and it pisses me off that it's not.
Your point is such a great point. We heard it every day. All day when they're making these accusations. This is the background of this little white kid who's
from this community. I mean, life stories of these people.
Yeah. And now she comes out. I was lying. I'm such a POS that I was lying about it. and nobody does anything about it.
Is it too late for these men to file defamation lawsuits? We're almost 20 years past.
Well, you know what? The best defamation cases were against the media. And as a matter of fact, the media was, if you take a look at that documentary, a couple of reporters that were right up there in North Carolina that had the inside, that were just blowing everything. I can't think of her name right now, female reporter, just taking it and turning it on its head, making it look like these were just evil little shits, you know, that set out to rape this poor African American woman every single day. Now, that was the best case. I don't know where it went. That was what I thought was the best case, to sue her and sue that media organization. I hope they did. I don't know the answer to that right now. You don't like this story. I thought it was interesting. It's RFK being criticized by Whoopi Goldberg for his position that we have to change the way we eat. We have to change how we take care of ourselves because 41% of the American public is considered severely obese. Now, why she would come out and say that shaming is beyond me. But she comes out and says RFK is shaming an entire element of the public by saying he's shaming that 41%, I guess, that statistically are regarded as severely obese. There's only a few countries in the world that are even ahead of the United States where it comes to obesity.
Well, there's two things I want to say about this. First and foremost, when Michelle Obama came out and said, hey, let's do our healthy eating initiative, Fox News ran segments on it every day. How horrible this is. How dare you say that we need to change our diets? And then now that it's flipped and you've got this guy that's going to be with the Trump administration saying, hey, let's change our diets here. And it is so hilarious to see now it is Whoopi Goldberg on the left saying, how dare you? Oh my God, it's history repeating itself, just flipped in a different direction. Okay. Second of all, Whoopi, my God, if you want to talk about crazy things Bobby says, this ain't it. Like, you've got a treasure trove of just ridiculously, I would call them crazy, but things that Bobby has said that you could go after. I mean, you could talk about the bear in Central Park if you wanted to, saying, hey, maybe double up the vegetables isn't one of them. There's like a whole list. I could send it to you if you want it, but this is not the thing.
As you know, Bobby's a good friend of mine, and I've watched.
He's nice as can be in person. I've never had a bad interaction with him.
Guy.
I just disagree with him on apparently everything these days.
Yeah, well, he used to be my law partner, as you probably know. But I've had stranger law partners than that, Joe Scarborough. So anyway, so Whoopi comes back and says, look, I was 300 pounds. And I couldn't do anything about it. I tried. It wasn't my eating. She said I was just 300 pounds. It's kind of hard to buy that, you know. But then you don't come out and say, Bobby, stop shaming 41% of the American public that are statistically, we're the second in the world for child obesity. I mean, come on, you just let that float? Don't say anything about it?
Yeah, I mean, look.
First of all, is that shaming? Is it shaming?
No, I don't think at all that is shaming. And listen, again, with regards to the diet portion, and that's the only part I will focus on there, it's no different than what Michelle Obama had said. Like, hey, let's teach kids how to eat healthy. Let's get a little more active. Let's be healthier as a people. And in that one area, what Bobby is saying really is the same. So again, it's so funny to me to see the two sides flip now. In Fox News now saying, like, of course we should eat healthy. It's ridiculous to say we shouldn't.
If Whoopi Goldberg wants to find something to be ashamed of, she should watch The View while she's on it. If that doesn't shame her enough, I'm beyond the idea of what's shameful. Farron, thank you for joining me, okay?
Thank you.
That's all the time we have this week, but these segments are going to be posted right here on this channel in coming week. Make sure you subscribe. I'm Mike Papantonio. This has been America's Lawyer. We tell you stories every week that corporate media won't tell you because their advertisers don't let them or their tribal politics don't allow for it. We don't have that problem here. We're not beholden to corporations, and we sure aren't beholden to political parties. We'll see you next time.